Warren Fiscal Court, special call meeting Monday, June 7th, 2021, 11 a.m. is now called to order. Please call the roll.
Esquire Young. Esquire Cummings.
Here.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Here.
Esquire Gorman.
Here.
Esquire Payne.
Here.
Okay. We do have a quorum with all court members attending. All righty. Everyone here knows that the purpose for this special call meeting is to hear presentations on proposals that were submitted to our RFP for fiber expansion and broadband service in Warren County. There were two proposals, one being Spectrum Charter, whichever that is right now, and the other being NCTC and RECC, and they're both current providers here in Warren County. And we have, let me see here, I know that we have two people joining us from Spectrum this morning. If you don't mind stating your names and titles, I believe it's the exact same ones that provided the proposal for us. Who'd like to go first?
Yes, thank you, Judge. This is Ben Ucelis. I'm the Senior Manager of Government Affairs for Charter. Charter is our company name, Spectrum is our brand name. I know it can be confusing, but it's one and the same. When you say one, you mean the other. My colleague, Jason Keller, should be joining us. I think he was having some Zoom issues, but he should be joining us. And then I also invited, I hope it's okay, my colleague, David Hagan, who might be able to offer some other additional expertise as we go through our presentation today.
Okay. All righty. And anyone else with you besides Jason and David?
That's the team for today.
All right. If you don't mind, if you're ready, are you ready to begin?
We are, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I have a presentation. I don't know if I can share my screen or if I can just talk through whatever's easiest for the court.
Nikki, can you do a screen share?
Yeah, here we go. It's working.
Okay. If you could keep it to right around 10 minutes.
I will. I'll try to fly through. Here we go. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we want to start by saying thank you, not only for having us here today to talk through this, but also for the county's leadership on this issue and for the proposal itself. I was on a call with another county early this morning talking about broadband in general, and was happy to say that when it comes to local engagement across on this issue, Kentucky is really leading the way, and you all are right at the forefront of this. So we appreciate not only the proposal and the scope of the proposal, but also the urgency behind it and the aggressive time frame. We hope that our submission echoes that sense of urgency. So I thought I'd start with talking about where we are currently and our commitment to Warren County currently. We have service deployed to more than 52,000 homes and businesses. That doesn't mean they're all connected to our network, but those are homes and businesses that have access to our network currently. They could sign up for service tomorrow if they wanted to. And we're continuing to build. Every location that has service has access to our full range of products, our full range of speeds, starting speeds of 200 megabits, and up to our Spectrum Gig product. And that current infrastructure is a combination of what's called hybrid fiber coax and fiber to the premises. Some of our more recent builds on that network have been direct fiber to the home. All of our new builds, whether it's through the RDOF process or builds introduced under this proposal, would be full fiber to the premises builds. And also we have an additional Spectrum store expected to open this fall. So here's a quick map of kind of where we are currently. This is the red on this map. I know it's kind of hard to see, and I'd love to be able to zoom in and closer for you all, but the red on this map is our current footprint. The yellow and green represents RDOF builds, and the green is the area that we are targeting. We are hoping to build that area later this year. Warren County is one of our first RDOF builds, frankly, across the country. The FCC, put a time frame together and is treating this year as effectively year zero because they didn't expect any builds to really happen this year. We're trying to beat their time frame significantly, so we are going to start building later this year, and that green area will be what we build this year. The yellow area is what we have planned to start building next year. So I thought I could just kind of run through our proposal at a high level and then open it up for any questions that we might have. There's really three main steps to this proposal as we see it. Number one is verifying our number of unserved homes and really getting the detail of who we're going to be serving. Number two is determining the funding options that we presented. And then number three is the actual construction of the project itself and building out to basically cover 100% of the county. That is our goal. That is how we understood your all's goal, and we want to meet that goal. So step number one is verifying unserved homes. The number that we put in our proposal were the homes that we've identified as in need in the county. And so that is, we took our existing footprint, anything outside of that footprint that was not going to already be covered by RDOF as the RFP explicitly prohibited, and we wouldn't want to build somewhere where somebody else was going to be covering with RDOF anyway. And so aside from that, we identified an additional 1,401 homes in Warren County that do not have access to that broadband level speed. So if we were selected as the partner for the county, our next step would be to formally walk these locations out, make sure we are identifying every single house. We've done this at a high level. Because of the quick turnaround for the RFP, we were able to do some desktop surveys and analyze it from a high level. We would want to get on the ground, look at the infrastructure, make sure we know exactly what's needed to get everywhere and exactly which homes are going to be targeted through this process to verify that scope. But we feel pretty good. We feel pretty confident in that number, but we would want to be sure to work with the county to verify that to the best of our abilities. So this map here can show this gray area is our current service footprint. The blue, purple, and a little bit of green up here are other RDOF areas. So the blue is ours, the purplish pink is NCTC's or the TCGC, and then this green up here is Windstream. So these striped areas are where we have identified the additional homes that are the focus of this proposal. Like I said, we want to walk this out to verify it. If there are additional homes somewhere that we somehow missed, we want to make sure we add those. But to the best of our abilities with the information that we had available to us, using our data, public data, RDOF data, and all of that, this is how we were able to identify the unserved homes in the county. So once we've identified the scope and we've verified those unserved homes, we would get into how we're going to fund the build. And our proposal put forth two funding options. Number one would be a straightforward grant to cover this cost, or to cover a portion of this cost. We looked at those 1,400 homes that we identified, 1,401, and came up with a cost. And that cost is based on strictly construction, labor, materials, equipment. I put a breakdown in here. Some of this stuff is even more technical than I understand, but it's basically, when you look at these numbers here, the plant cost, that's the extending our service. That is the fiber, the contracting, the design, all that to get the fiber out. And then the interconnect has more to do with back-end equipment to make sure that we get that perfect signal out to every single one of those homes. And through that analysis, we came up with a total cost to cover all 1,401 homes of $8,357,197. What we would ask for from the county would be essentially 35% of that, or basically 2.9 million. We would cover the rest. We would handle all of the construction and start as soon as possible to get that rolling. So here it is again. So yeah, the county would cover 2.9 or 35%, and Spectrum would cover the remaining costs, 5.4. The second option, and this is a unique option that is a new thing we've started offering. It's actually been really exciting to see these put into place. But basically, under this plan, we would cover the full cost of construction and enter a contract with the county to pay a deeply discounted cost of service for each resident. And that resident would see $500 or 500 meg symmetrical speeds over a 15-year term. That cost would start at $25 per month per location, and then have a slight increase beyond that, but still maintain that deep discounted level. So that again, the way we structured this, that could be if the county chose this path, that could be recouped through a county assessment on the property, or fully covered by the county and provided to the residents free of charge. However, we wanted to sort that. So we threw that in there as an interesting approach, because it could potentially be considerable savings for the county. Again, we would cover the full construction cost, the full $9 million to extend service, and then it would just be that contract for the bulk service to the 1,401 homes. Finally, I want to mention too, there are other funding options available, as I'm sure you're well aware. The recently funded Kentucky State Broadband Grant Program, where we expect the first round of that to happen later this year, maybe later this summer or early fall. I think $50 million, I think, is slated possibly for this first round. There are also additional federal funding opportunities that we are looking into. There are NTIA grants, which require a partnership between a private entity and a local community. We would be happy to look into any of those options if the county would like to, but we recognize that the county, through this RFP has stressed wanting to do this as efficiently and quickly as possible. So that's why we put together these grant opportunities and the bulk rate as something we could do much quicker and not have to wait on additional funding sources. So finally, the last part, once we've worked out, identified the homes, we've identified the funding sources, and now it's time to build. So our timeline, we are equipped to begin construction quickly. As I mentioned in the proposal, we have a dedicated team that we've just established within our existing construction team. And this team is dedicated solely to the RDOF expansion and all other rural builds. We've hired a number of people to fill new leadership positions for this. We've engaged additional contractors. We are well equipped and ready to roll for any construction project across the state, and able to amplify that if needed. The RFP requested a 60-day time frame to begin construction. We are more than ready to meet that. Like I mentioned before, we are already planning for Warren County to be one of our first RDOF builds in the country. So we could easily tack on this proposal to that build and get the whole county built as quickly as possible to get that full 100% coverage. Network design, as I mentioned before, it's a combination. It currently is a combination of hybrid fiber coax and fiber to the premises. That hybrid fiber coax, just to be clear, is primarily fiber. It's just that last little stretch to the house is the traditional cable coax. It's able to do just as fast speeds right now as fiber to the premises. But again, all new builds, most new builds that we're doing as under business as usual, in addition to all RDOF builds and any builds under this proposal, would be full fiber to the premises builds, capable of delivering up to 1 gig symmetrical, definitely 1 gig by 500 service. And here's just a quick overview of the team I mentioned that we've built within our existing business as usual construction team. This is a separate entity dedicated to rural build-outs, and we're still building it. As you see, we're still hiring for some positions, some coordinator and fiber tech positions in our area, in the Bowling Green area. So we're very excited to continue to build this team so that we're ready to roll and build as much as possible. Again, we're still hiring for positions. We've engaged multiple new contractors through this process as well. So finally, I'd say, like, you know, why would it make sense for Warren County to choose charter to go forward under this proposal? Number one, I think we're the most experienced and most built out provider in Warren County and across the Commonwealth. It makes it easier for us to extend service, having so much service already through the county. We've provided multiple funding options for the county and are prepared to enlist significant private investment. Under our RDOF build across the state of Kentucky, we're investing more than $100 million to match the $58 million that we received from the federal government. That $100 million is going to continue to grow as we work with counties like Warren County, as we engage in the state broadband grant program, and as we work towards full coverage of the state, which is this is something that's just very exciting. As someone who's worked in this industry for over a decade now and has heard time and time again from county judges about the importance of expanding broadband, we finally have really good options and really strong solutions to solve this problem. And our company recognizes that and is investing heavily to meet this moment, as obviously governments at all levels are as well. And so it's a very exciting time for us. And frankly, I think we offer the fastest route to 100% broadband coverage for Warren County through the team we've already established, the process we are already going through, and just the infrastructure we already have on the ground. We're capable and ready to make this network cover the entire county as quickly as possible. I mentioned here our RDOF funding awards and our investment that we're already making. We're engaged with similar RFP processes in a number of counties. You all are the first one that this year that we've responded to, but there are many more that are following your lead here. So again, I want to thank you for your leadership on this. Over the next 2 to 5 years, we will be leading what is effectively the largest broadband expansion in Kentucky's history. That would be just with the RDOF alone, these 31,000 households that we're going to be building to. And through these RFP processes, through the state broadband grant program, we're looking to expand that as much as we possibly can. We would love for Warren County to be our first official local partner in this historic effort. So again, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the opportunity to partner. We are very grateful for this opportunity and very excited about the possibilities of expanding broadband throughout the county and throughout the state. So I will stop there. I tried to go as fast as I could, but I wanted to make sure I hit everything. And I can stop sharing screen, and if you want, I can open it up for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Uselis. And
Uselis, yes, sir.
I see that Jason Keller's joined us and David Hagan is already on here as well. If y'all have any comments that y'all like to make before? No? Okay.
I'd just like to reiterate, Judge,
Jason.
thank you for establishing this process. I know you've been a voice for rural broadband in Kentucky for well, as long as I've known you, and that's been a few years now, more than a decade, probably 15 years. So your leadership is noted on this issue for many years, and the other members of the fiscal court. Thank you for doing this. As Ben indicated, we would love to partner with Warren County and really accelerate the build out that we're already going to do, and which is an exciting build out, significant 1,500 homes under the RDOF plan in the county that we're going to be doing, and has been indicated we're already moving on that. So we would love to use this as an expansion of that program to partner with you further on it. So thank you again, Judge and members of the Fiscal Court, for your leadership on this issue. It's definitely been noted, and I certainly noted across the state.
Thank you, Jason. If anyone else has any questions or comments in regard to this presentation, Mr. Mefford, are you on here with us?
I am, Judge. I'm going to stay camera up if you don't mind. I'm mobile, so if you can hear me, I'll just stay on audio.
Okay. Do you have any comments or questions that you have before we go on to the next presentation?
You know, I might just add, Ben and I were able to connect over the weekend, and I appreciated him taking time to do that while on vacation even. But, you know, we talked about the 1,400 homes and their analysis of that. And I just commented that sounded pretty light in terms of the remaining number of unserved. And you know, as he's laid out, they would dig into that deeper. But Ben and hi, Jason. By the way,
Okay, you're not coming through clear now, Mr. Mefford.
okay.
Okay, better.
Well, I'll reserve then. I'll try to get to a better spot, and I'll reserve questions to the end then, if that's okay.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, Judge.
You may want to take this opportunity, he signed confidentiality. You may want to take this opportunity to tell everyone he signed confidentiality.
Oh, okay.
He is also the representative in an expert fashion.
Right. Yeah, just so everyone knows, and I think both responders know Mr. Mefford, but he has a lot of experience in this, and this court has worked with him over the years in consulting in regard to fiber expansion and internet service for the county. He was president of Connected Nation, Connected Kentucky, and I think he is the guy who actually formed Connect Kentucky in the first place. But he now works for a different company with a similar charge, a similar mission, and that's expanding broadband, high-speed broadband internet throughout the nation. And I think he's actually worked outside the country as well. But he has a history of working with us. Fiscal Court members trust his leadership. He has worked, I know, with Spectrum and also with NCTC and or RECC. He understands them well, and you can understand, or I think the average person can understand, that even though the Fiscal Court is going to make the decision as to who does this, and who expands our countywide broadband, if you listen to both presentations, it's difficult for the average person to totally understand all the details of how it's to be done. I feel like after 10 or 12 years of researching this and working with companies from across the country, that I have a little better understanding than I did 10 years ago. But at the same time, while I'm trying to learn all this, technology is changing along the way, so I'm constantly finding that I need experienced people to help translate the terminology in all of this so I better understand it. Now, that being said,
Judge, let me ask you a question. Where are we going to ask our questions of the presenters? After each one of them goes, or at the end after both of them have already completed their presentation?
you can do it now if you'd like, but I was planning on doing it afterwards,
Let's
just so you have a little better understanding of the apples and oranges approach here. So, but if you have any questions, you're welcome.
I can wait till the end.
Okay, all right. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to The other proposal, which is NCTC, that's North Central Telecom Corporation. Okay, sorry. Who also is a provider here locally and has been working with Warren Rural Electric Cooperative, who is also part of this team. I don't know who wants to speak for RECC and NCTC first, but we'll call on Mr. Dwayne McDonald.
Good morning, Judge. And yeah, I'll start it and speak for a moment, and then we're going to turn it over to go through the RFP.
Okay.
But just want to say good morning to the court, and I appreciate the forward vision that the board has to do this for our county, to meet the needs that our county has, and I appreciate the opportunity. We all appreciate the opportunity to be here today. So my name is Dwayne McDonald. I'm President and CEO of Warren RECC, and then with me we have Butch Massey, which is Vice President of Engineering and Operations at Warren, Johnny McClanahan, which is President and CEO at North Central Telephone Cooperative, and Clint Carter, with Director of Technology with North Central. So again, I want to give just a little bit of background for those that may not know about how we've got here to this point, but we heard, and our board heard loud and clear just a couple of years ago, the need in the community and the need in the county, and felt like the need was not being met. And we're electric co-op, so but our mission that we've had for years is to improve the quality of life of the members we serve. And so we took it upon ourselves we heard loud and clear that need was there and needed to be met by somebody. So we started down a path of trying to find a way to improve the life of those members we serve. And down that path is when we came across and come together to join with North Central Telephone. And together, the two entities have over 153 years of experience in our local communities. So, and then we're able to, moving forward with that, we've started pilot projects, which some of you may have known, and NCTC was already in Warren County, and then we worked together on those pilot projects. And already in a year and a half, we've passed 2,500 homes and businesses to serve through. So, and as we've said, I think my understanding is again, we appreciate the fiscal court looking at this, and my understanding through the Treasury where these funds are coming from. They're even promoting the use to work with local or work with cooperatives. So we was glad to see that as well. And I'll just say for both entities, we're owned by our members, so we're driven to serve them, not only from the time before we hook them up, but once we connect them, that's really when our service starts. We start from there moving forward to serve them and for as long as we have them. So just wanted to reiterate that a little bit, and then with that I wanted to introduce the guests, but Johnny, if you had any comments, and then we'll turn it over to Butch and Clint to walk through the RFP and then answer any questions that anybody has.
Mr. McClanahan, how are you, sir?
Thanks, Judge. Glad to be here. My name is John McClanahan, the President and CEO of NCTC, and as Dwayne said, Clint Carter is also with me. He's the Director of Technology at NCTC. I'm going to let Clint explain all the details to you. He's really good at that. So if you got any questions, Clint, and I'll be glad to answer those questions. But as Dwayne said, we've been working with Warren Rural for the past, 2 years, Dwayne, or maybe longer than that, in providing internet broadband service to Warren County. And we've loved dealing with y'all, dealing with Warren Rural. It's been a great partnership. We hope to really extend that partnership into different areas of Kentucky, Warren County in particular. We're definitely glad to be here for this presentation for the bid today. We'd love to be able to work with y'all. Got any questions, please feel free to ask us. We've been in business, as Dwayne said, for North Central itself for over 70 years. We are member-driven. We do understand the importance of providing service to our members, and we strive to do that each and every day. We try to do, if our members have got trouble, we try to respond as quick as possible within a day's time period, if possible, to correct their trouble. So we're going to try to expand that to y'all as well. We did win some RDOF funds here in Warren County, and some more areas of Kentucky. We're definitely glad to the FCC for that. One thing that the FCC has got that I don't think would maybe not include in their proposal is a new program they've got called the Emergency Broadband Program. It's a $50 credit that's going to come off the customer's bill if they qualify for more or less Lifeline or government, your poverty levels, and a free lunch program. I think a lot of our customers in Tennessee, as well as Kentucky, will qualify for that, which I lowered their cost $50 a month. We're not sure how long this discount will be in effect with the FCC, hopefully for quite a while, but we'll offer that as long as the FCC allows us to and everything. We just started doing that. We've got, I think, 50 customers this last billing period. We just got started doing that, so we'll try to do that more. So once again, we're glad to be here. If y'all got any questions, I'll let Clint go over the details just a minute with y'all about the proposal, but just feel free to ask us, and we're definitely glad to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hello. How are you, Mr. Massey?
I'm Butch Massey, Vice President of Engineering and Operations at Warren RECC. So, you're going to make an important decision today, and the people impacted by this decision are your constituents. These are our members. We are cooperatives. These are the people that own us and give us direction. So this is very important to us. And because these are our members, we're driven to provide this service as a mission and not for profit. As a part of our mission, we started providing service in the rural areas of not only unserved, but underserved members. Others have been in providing service in Bowling Green. They could have expanded out into the county, but chose not to serve those customers because it was not profitable. This funding that you're talking about today doesn't change our mission, but it allows us to implement it faster and get high-speed internet to our members. So while others have had the opportunity or talked about it, we stepped forward to fill the void. We've already passed over 2,500 of these members and are signing them up as quickly as we can. We already have momentum in this area. If awarded these funds, we'll begin immediately with the materials and manpower that we have on hand. And we'll provide service to all the areas within a 2-year time frame. We're asking for $10 million from the fiscal court to complete the project. We expect to spend over $15 million to make service available to approximately 14,000 folks that we feel are unserved or underserved. Just because somebody has wireless service that says 25.3, we've discovered it's not there. And so we're really out here to basically fulfill our mission and provide this service to our folks. So I'm going to provide, or ask Clint to provide a little bit more detail from their perspective from NCTC.
Thank you, Butch. Thank you, Dwayne. Thanks, Johnny. And thank you, Judge, and thank you to the court for the opportunity to present, our portion of this today. I just want to reiterate everything that they've said about, our mission as a cooperative. We're meant to serve. Today, in our service territory in Tennessee and in Kentucky, approximately 97% of all of our residents have fiber to the home to their residence today. Basically, fiber all the way from our central offices all the way to the side of their home. So we don't do a hybrid approach in that regards. We do have a full fiber to the home. We do utilize the latest wireless technology, inside the home as well. We have capabilities of expanding wireless technology in residents' homes today. We talk about being local. I mean, when we do have trouble, we solve approximately 96% of all of our trouble tickets, both residential and business, within a 24-hour period. So that's huge. But what we feel like from our standpoint, you're not waiting 4, 5, 6, 7 days for somebody to come to your home to resolve an issue that may be self-inflicted. That's what we're here for. We do have a 24/7, 365 network operations center, help desk that services our customers or our members today. We also have technicians that will actually roll trucks and go straight to the customers' homes throughout the day and throughout the evening as well. When you do pick up the phone, you're going to call, one of 3 places or one of 4 places here in Lafayette, Tennessee, Westmoreland, Tennessee, Scottsville, Kentucky, or Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Those are the 4 places that you'll be calling if and when you have trouble, or if and when you want to sign up for service. And again, we are your neighbors. We're the people that you're going to see at the ballparks, at churches, at the grocery store. I worked for some really, really large companies before coming here, and I really underestimated being able to see those folks in the grocery store or at church. But I think that makes our product even better, because we do have that personal approach, personal touch to our products, and we care. You can make one phone call to our company and talk to a doer. You can talk to Warren Rural, you can talk to North Central, but again, in that one phone call, you can talk to a doer, and I think that's key. That's different than competing, with some of the others that may be out there. So, again, we're here for any questions that you might have, after all the presentations. But anything that we can do to help make your decision easier, we'll be happy to do that. Thank you very much.
All righty. Now, do you have any questions or comments? Tom?
I had a couple of them. You answered one, I think. You said within 2 years you would finish the project if we decide to go with you guys. Is that right? I wanted to ask Spectrum the same question. If you guys would decide to go with you, how long would it take you guys to finish the project?
Are you asking if we can meet the 2-year requirement as well?
Or how long would it take?
Yeah, we're prepared to meet that timeline. I think the RFP said start within 60 days and complete it in 2 years, and that's what we would be shooting for as well. We're prepared to meet that as well, and that would include all of our RDOF area, which we would make sure we're already planning to start that RDOF build within these next 2 years, but we make sure we would wrap it up as well.
Okay, the big factor that I see in here, and I don't know exactly how to ask this. I'm trying to be cautious because both of your all's written documents are stamped confidential, proprietary, just about everywhere. So I'm trying to work around what, and only ask the things that were in your oral presentation. But one of you said there's 1,401 customers that are identified, and the other says 14,000 with 800 of those being businesses and 13,200 homes. That's not...
One's 10 times as big as the other.
Yeah. How do we reconcile that? Can you tell me how you came up with that 1,401? And let's say we find a whole bunch more homes than that 1,401. Does your price and the scope and the I assume the price per passing is the same. So are you sticking with that price no matter what? We find 14,000.
So we would be pretty amazed if we found 14,000, just because our current service is extended to around 52,000, I believe. And again, everyone who has access to our service, that doesn't mean they're our customers, but they have access to our network, whether it's a home or a business or anything else, has access to the full range of products, meaning they have up to at least 1 gig service with a minimum of 200 meg service. So, our approach, and again, we were comparing numbers from different sources, right? So it was our homes passed number, the number of homes we passed with our current network. We subtracted out, included in the RDOF areas, since the RFP explicitly said to not include those. And then what was left, was 1,400, which I believe that gets us to around what like the census says the number of housing units that Warren County has, 55 to 56,000. So it may not be exact. I would be surprised if it was very far off. And again, these are people that do not have access to our current service. So they don't have access to that 200 meg minimum, 1 gig top speed service right now. And that was the methodology we use. I don't know, Jason, if you want to add anything else to that.
Okay.
No, I think that's right. We took our current footprint, then added the RDOF area, not just our RDOF, but also that which was received by the other entities, and then looked to find the remaining source. As mentioned in the presentation, I mean, if there is a discrepancy in the numbers, and we would certainly be grateful for an opportunity to take a look at that and see if there are additional homes that we could add to that. We're always looking to add more homes and want to be sure that we have, again, 100% of the county covered with gigabit service. That is our goal here. So we would certainly want to take a look at that, but we thought that the number was within the ballpark of where we think there is still a need for broadband speeds.
You're talking about 100 drops to every home. I mean, a drop to every home, 100%.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Throughout the county.
That's the goal. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I have two questions for one question for both companies and one question for NCTC's proposal. This is a 2-year proposal to do this build out. I want to know actually from the build out to actually connection to homes. I mean, hook up in homes. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I want to know is this 2-year window that there actually be services to the houses. Building out the infrastructure is one thing, but actually hooking up is what I'm concerned about. Is who actually going to be, will we have all these proposals on both the proposals? Does this include actually hook up and people actually using the services? One question. Ben, you can go first.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So the way we would build this, the same way we would build RDOF as well, is as we build, if we build down a road, we want to hook up that customer as quickly as possible. So we wouldn't wait for the whole project to be completed. The sooner the whole goal of this is to hook up a household. So the sooner we can do that, the better. If we can hook them up this year, that's the best way to do it. If it goes into next year, as we build out, we will be hooking up homes all along the way.
Mr. Massey?
Well, the one thing I will say is building out is the critical thing. Do we get there and do we get it passed? We will, just as we've done on our other projects, we will be building it in phases and we'll be lighting those phases just as soon as they are built. So yes, that's our plan. However, ultimately, it is the member's choice to choose the service. And you do have to wait on them to make their decision. So I will kind of bring that point up is, we won't do a drop to the house if they don't ask for the service. So that's the one exception I'll take to the question.
Second question, I guess, while you're standing there, Butch, this 14,000 number in your proposal, does it include any of the houses and so forth in the RDOF area?
It does not include anything in the RDOF area.
Okay. Okay, just a quick question. You all are showing 14,000 homes. They're showing 1,401. They're saying, at least this is what I'm hearing, if it comes up to 14,000, they're not going to increase their price. They're going to serve all 14,000. That's what I understood Mr. Ucelis to say. That being the case, pardon me?
Judge, I think you should ask that question again. I want to, I've heard about a goal, but I think the question should be asked. Spectrum is proposing 1,400 homes, and they've given the financial information for what that would cost. If we assume it's 3,000, I'm not here, I would be amazed if they say it's gonna be the same price. If they are, I'm sure they could talk about it right now, but I'm sure there's some, maybe Ben could answer that question, not about the same rate. I wanna know what the price would be if there's an overage of that magnitude, of the homes they are proposing.
Yes, sorry, I should have been more clear. If the number came back as way off, as significantly more homes, then we would need to reassess what it would take to get there. We would likely try to stick to this 35% share of the cost. But yeah, as the scope of the project if the scope of the project were to change that drastically, we'd have to take another look at it. But we would still want to do a similar type of cost sharing approach because again, our goal is 100%. This is how we were able to identify 100% according to the numbers we had available to us. So that's what we felt would accomplish that. If it turns out that it's more, we want to do that too. We might have to rework a couple of the numbers, but again, we want to try to keep that cost share approach to however many homes we ended up deciding on.
I don't know who would answer that question. If the scope is considered much less, if you all determined that it was much less, would you reduce your price by that much?
If the scope is reduced, yes, our price would go down. And of course, it depends on where they're at, because the biggest issue is the customer density and the customer per mile. And so
Your numbers, are they estimated, or are they based on the number of electrical customers you have in that area?
our numbers are estimated, and they are based upon, we know where all the electric meters are. We may not have the exact area where all the service is, and so, but what we started was, okay, in the RFP, you had a 15,000 person number. Then we looked at that and said, well, that's too high. So we started looking in and trying to fill in all the areas that we believed were open outside of RDOF and outside the city of Bowling Green and the areas served by existing providers to an acceptable level.
Okay.
So
And if
you
you find,
have AT&T out there providing wireless service. Well, we didn't consider AT&T wireless service.
you can't get their locations. Okay. So if it all of a sudden is half that, I assume there's a number that you all have factored in there for the dollar figure per hookup. I assume it would be,
Yeah, our cost will be, per mile built. And so we would make an adjustment. If we have to build to less areas, we'll be reducing the prices.
okay. Okay.
Are you guys able to tell us how much per customer it's gonna cost, or is that something that's proprietary that you don't want to?
That's what we've got as proprietary at this point.
I'm sure all that's built on density.
Do you mean the cost of service?
Yeah, like the
Or
cost in passing per hookup.
So if we entered into this agreement with the county and say it was the 1,400 homes and we did the 3 million grant or 2.9 million grant and built it out, there would be no additional hookup cost for the customer. That would cover full extension to the home. And then for the cost of service, it would be the same as any other customer in Bowling Green or Louisville or Nashville. It would be, we have uniform pricing when it comes to broadband. So any new hookup would have that same pricing as anyone else.
But you're bringing the fiber down every county road where there's a residence or a business, and you connect any and every one of them. But now, is the connection per customer, is there an additional cost there? If, let's just say let's say your number is right for the sake of plugging something in, your number's right, how much of it do you have allocated for the actual hookup within each home?
My understanding is that's all included. So if we went forward with this project, and Jason, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but if we went
that's the
forward with this
same.
project and it was 1,401 homes, and we got 2.9 from the county and we invested the rest, when we were done with that project, every single customer there could sign up for service the same way we do now.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
I think we need to propose that same question to the guys here, because I know the way the pilot program worked, there was cost associated to actually hooking up to individuals, costs on the individual using your service. So is this now covered?
It is now covered.
So that no extra expense, no line expense, no what, all this is inclusive. So all they gotta do is order the service, install it, and
It's
start.
included in what we have proposed in the package,
Because that was different from what the pilot was.
because the pilot was a learning exercise.
That's what I wanna make sure I heard. I'm hearing what I wanna hear, all right.
Pardon me?
What is Spectrum's rates on the different, I don't see that in the.
$50.
Is it in the bid?
They're using $50
There you go.
FCC thing.
No, no, no. What are they now? What are they to me?
Oh, what are their current rates?
What are the tiers?
What are your current rates to other areas of the county?
Or to Tennessee, or to, they're all the same. you
The
said.
question is, what are Spectrum's rates to other customers in the county?
Or to Tennessee.
For
I think you
200 meg
said-
service.
I think you said they were uniform across the board. What are your charges for different tiers of broadband service?
Let me see if I have that handy. Jason, do you know off the top of your head?
I do not off the top of my head. I know that we are, in most places in Kentucky right now, we have our 200 meg, which is our sort of flagship speeds, is a $45 a month product on a promotional rate. But I would need to get that data, and we'd be happy to provide that to you.
So what speed tiers do you offer? Do you offer 3 speed tiers?
Yes.
Correct. Yes, we have our introductory is 200 meg service. The next tier would be 400, and then it would be our Spectrum Internet Gig product. I should mention too, we also do have a low income offering for any families on the National School Lunch Program or
And that-
seniors on supplemental income.
And I think that's that federal government program, is that correct? I believe there's a federal program. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a program that our company has put together based on, yes, anyone who's on that federal National Lunch Program.
And what is their speed offered under that program with your company?
The speed, I believe, is 30 meg. Jason, is that right?
It is. It's 30 meg for $18 a month under Spectrum Internet Assist. And it was mentioned earlier, the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, which is offering, at least on a emergency basis, $50 vouchers to families in need as a result of the coronavirus stimulus that was recently passed. We are also taking part in that program. Both our Spectrum Internet Assist and our introductory rate program for 200 meg would actually be paid for in full by the $50 voucher. So we are participating in that across all of our footprint in Warren County.
Okay, so there's a 200 meg, a 400 meg, and a 1 gig, and the price is consistent across Kentucky and Tennessee, but you don't know the number. You don't know how much.
Correct.
Okay.
As Jason said, we will occasionally offer promotional pricing too, which will be lower, but there's a
that-
standard rate
Of course-
card for those.
Of course, that would
tiers.
expire. I'm just talking about the general rate that you have to pay once the fun's over, once you get back to the real world. So that's what I was wondering. Thank you.
And again, we'll be happy to pull that and get the updated information to you.
I have
No,
one
this is
question.
Brian, if I might ask a question?
Well, yes, sir.
Yeah, just while we're talking about pricing, and I think there was one point maybe of confusion, and Ben, you and I spoke to this over the weekend, but on cost versus price. So in the option B of your proposal, there's reference to the $25 cost, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity to clarify that's different than price, as I understand it. That would be sort of a cost to the county per home passed, and then presumably again, if that number changes, homes passed, then that total cost would adjust. But just wanted to clarify cost versus price on that point.
So under option B, first the full construction cost is covered. And then that $25 per household cost covers the full broadband service to that household. So it's not like we would do the $25 per household and then additional charge to the household. That, if the county chose to pay that, then that customer would essentially be getting 500 by 500 speeds for free.
I'm with you on that, but that's a per home pass calculation. Is that right? I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be determined if somebody takes the service. It would just be the cost to the county for every home passed. Not necessarily a price if somebody chose the service, for instance.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Thanks. It's a nuance, but just wanted to make sure there was clarity on that. Thank you.
Sure.
Judge, one last question for me, if I may ask.
Yes.
Is like in my particular area, I do have Spectrum with my current provider, and I'm paying for 400 meg internet speed. But when I run speed tests, I'm getting 35 and 40 meg speed. I mean, can you tell me why? I mean, if I'm paying for 400 and I'm not receiving 400, and I live right at the edge of the city, and I constantly check my speed, and it's woefully below what I'm paying for.
So, sure, absolutely. So, two things really. Number one is that our service, and I would imagine any other provider service, all we can guarantee is speed going to the house to the modem. Once beyond there, obviously, if you're over Wi-Fi, that's going to downgrade your signal a little bit, depending on where you are in your house, depending on how many things are online. That can affect your speeds. And second, we would be happy to look into to ensure. I mean, our team monitors around the clock to make sure that our network is performing at the level that it's supposed to. We monitor, so our network goes to what are called nodes, which serve certain households. And if one node is starting to get overloaded a little bit, we'll work on splitting that node and setting it up. So we have processes in place to ensure that level of service. Again, once it gets inside the house, depending on the router you have, depending on if you have, like my house right here has plaster walls. So sometimes if I'm on one side of the house, it's going to be a little slower than other parts of the house. We have some products and services that can help with that, but there's certain things that once you get inside the house, that you're never sure what speed you're going to get. And there are certain things you can do to mitigate that. But again, we're happy if you think you're getting especially low speeds, that's something we would want to look into immediately.
Well, since you brought that up, Squire Cummings, I'm looking here I did a speed test on my home. I can't afford as much as Squire Cummings, but I'm supposed to have a 200 meg service. And this is what I got yesterday, which is basically nothing. And I was sitting 6 feet away from the router. I was getting a download of 2.88 and an upload of 8.56. I don't know if you can see that on this, I don't know where the camera is, but it's, I can share it with you. I'm not sure why it's that low, but when I call Spectrum, they tell me to unplug the modem and unplug the router and all that stuff, which I do. But I do this fairly regularly just to see what I'm getting, and it's pretty close to this every time instead of 200 meg. So one of the words that I caught on your proposal was bulk. I don't know what bulk means when you're talking about a 500 bulk. Does that mean it's going out to a number of customers, or does that mean that you're going to get 500 in? What is that? What is the meaning of that?
Sure. So the speed we advertise, 200 meg, 400 meg, 1 gig, 500 byte, whatever it is, that is the speed that we are delivering to each household. If you're getting 2, that's something's really wrong there, and we need to look at that. I want to make sure you are.
Well, it's 2.88.
That's far too low from which it should be. And so when I mentioned the bulk is just that's that funding option number 2, where we treat all those houses as one from a cost perspective. Each one of those would still get the dedicated speed of each one of the 500 by 500, I think was the offer on that one. So that doesn't mean that speed applies to all those homes. Each home would get that speed. That they would just be contracted as a bulk agreement in that funding option.
You understand that?
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, and Judge, in that case, if I would add, I think that's something we need to take a look at in terms of your service. There may be something that is mitigating the line going into the house or something of that nature that we need to take a look at, because you should be receiving much greater speeds than that. And in fact, the recent report that was issued by the Federal Communications Commission indicated that we were the only national provider that both met and exceeded in a consistent basis our advertised speeds in both the prime time period of the day between 5 and 9 p.m. And then throughout the day as well. We pride ourselves on delivering what we advertise, and when we don't, we need to get a truck out there and figure out what's going on with it. So I think that's certainly, this sounds like the case here, and would want to make sure that we're taking care of that. There are a number of issues, has been indicated, that can decrease the level of service from the time it leaves our hub site to the time that it gets to a person's device, a customer's device. But that should not be impacting that level of service to that degree. So there's certainly something there that we need to address.
I always say one final question, then I have one more.
Okay.
Just make sure, I know part of your existing service with Spectrum is a blend between coax, fiber type combination, but all this new proposal going forward from both companies, it's 100% fiber, no coax at all. It's a fiber to the door, type of service for both of y'all. Make sure both I understand that's what I understand.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
I'm very hesitant about asking questions because so much of this is marked confidential and proprietary. But I assume, since you all brought up the map on your oral presentation, that it's no longer proprietary or confidential. But what I see that you all are covering, and what I see on what I think you're covering, is vastly different. That red area, some of those areas, I still get calls from people that can't get access out there. So I guess what I'm saying is, do you have a line running through there so you call it covered, or do you actually have customers in all of those red areas?
Well, we definitely have lines running through it, so it's probably hard to zoom in, and we'd be happy to sit down with the county and take this sort of zoom in closer on these maps. So basically what you see with those red kind of boxes is that's the boundary of our service. So there are lines running through there, and everyone in those boxes should be able to receive service. If there's some reason that they're not, we would want to look into that immediately. But that should cover where we have lines and where we either have customers or could have customers attached to our network easily.
Since you all showed this, is it okay with you all if I discuss this with NCTC and RECC, because their map doesn't look like this either? I'd like to know what the facts are, because some of this area that you're showing that you all cover is an area that's in an area that they're covering right now, in their area out in the Alvin area. So I'd like to know I'd like to separate fact from fiction, or opinions from opinions, but rather determine what's real. I mean, do you have any problem with me talking with them and comparing these maps?
Judge, it is our.
Or vice
our map
versa.
is still-
Pardon me?
It's still proprietary. That said, we would be happy to enter into an NDA with the county for your ability to use the map and verify the data that's included there. And we'd be happy to turn that around quickly.
Now, just so you're clear, Jason, your business put that up on this Zoom call, and this Zoom call is completely open. I don't know if you knew that when you did it, but this is an open meeting. I just want you to be aware.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. I'm not sure we did know that going in. I thought this was a smaller group, so that's probably my fault for not having checked that
Sure,
in advance. So
anytime the county meets, we
did not realize that it was an open meeting prior to.
Yeah. Anytime we meet to make any decisions at all, we must, by statute, make it public. So just discussing this between ourselves, we could have a closed meeting, but we can't really, we can't ever discuss anything in an open meeting without,
inviting the public.
I mean, we can't discuss things that we intend to make decisions on without inviting the public in, so.
And I should say too, with the NDA that Jason mentioned, we provided that snapshot. Under an NDA, we'd be happy to sit down with the county and look and zoom in at a street level and show exactly where this network starts and stops.
Okay, I mean, we treat everything that you've brought in, that you've sent in, both companies, as confidential. Any part that you've put in here and marked as confidential. So before I discuss that with them, I really want to get a handle on where we are. I don't know, unfortunately, since we're so far apart, I don't know that we're at a point to do the scoring today, but I'll leave that to you gentlemen. If you're prepared to do the scoring based on what you know, maybe I can get a consensus from you right now. But Mr. Mefford, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
I think, Matt, I think the court's heard the two different methodologies, and like you said, Judge, if there's comfort in the difference of those methodologies, if you get into the 1,401 versus 14,000, that's one thing, but if there's still open questions to that, then we can dig into that further.
I'm ready to move forward, Your Honor, Judge.
Okay. Are you all ready to move forward?
Yes, sir. Are we gonna make a motion with
Judge,
everybody still here, or are we gonna
Judge,
dismiss?
I'm ready to move forward with that myself.
Okay, if y'all are ready to move forward, then we'll do this by these scoring sheets first. So you all have your scoring sheets out there, right? Okay. On the experience that's relevant to rural broadband expansion and delivery. That's 15 points maximum. Then you see Spectrum Charter and NCTC right next to each other. Put the points that you value, either or both, in the boxes, the appropriate boxes, out beside experience. Are there any questions on that? Okay, on financial soundness, this is soundness of the project. This is capability to meet the RFP request, and that's 15 points maximum. And you just enter 1 through 15 under Spectrum, 1 through 15 under NCTC and RECC. Scheduled timeline, that's if you felt comfortable that they're going to intend to meet that scheduled timeline. That is a 25-point maximum, so just fill in between 1 and 25 there. And then number 10 is in the narrative. How well they presented their case and that addressed the goals, needs, and objectives of the requirements of the RFQ. And then on the references, that narrative was 10 points, up to 10 points. References up to 10 points, and that's on the responses of references that were received in the RFQ. And then the county cost, value, investment, and impact on the county. Which one is going to be, address our goals and objectives best? And that's 25 points, 1 through 25. If you'll score 1 through 25 under Spectrum Charter and 1 through 25 under NCTC, we should come up with a maximum total of 100 in those areas. If you have any other variables that are relevant that you want to place underneath there as a plus or minus, please do so. But everyone turning their score sheets in. You turn your score sheets in. Still have one working on it over here. Mark, if you turn your score sheet in.
Judge Amy is going to give me a call
Okay.
on the phone,
All right.
and I will give her my numbers.
Okay.
And just to be clear, Spectrum is the first, Charter is the first column, NCT.
Correct.
And I'm going to go over and call Mr. Wood.
Hey, buddy, I can't talk right now. I'm in a meeting.
Okay. Did you leave? Did you not go to?
Yes, I'm.
That's Tony's.
So everyone's clear. The first column comes out clearly on my sheet, but it's Spectrum and Charter is in the first column. NCTC is in the second column. And everyone understands the area of under experience relevant to rural broadband is 15. Financial soundness of the plan is 15, up to 15. Schedule and timeline. Who's going to deliver the timeline that we set out is 25. And then the narrative, which one addresses the goals, needs, and objectives and requirements of the RFQ, RFP. That's 10. References, any references that we received, you can score 1 through 10 on those. And then the county cost, value, investment, and impact to the county would be 25, and that's under 1 through 25 on either or both. Score them both. And theoretically, under this, you'll end up, if everyone followed the directions, you're going to end up with one showing, unless y'all just went down through there and scored them all even, then we're in trouble. But if you all can figure out what you've all had access to these, to the proposals over the weekend, and had an opportunity to study even the areas that were marked confidential. And you've turned those back in. But everyone's should have had a full understanding of the proposals when they got here this morning. So after they're scored here, on these sheets, if you guys, I'll give you the opportunity to make sure you scored them the way you intended to, and then give the opportunity, if you all are ready, to make a motion that we proceed with one of these vendors, not necessarily cutting the other one off, but proceed with diligently that to see if we can come up with a contract. If we have cooperation within the company and the county attorney's office to agree on a contract, we'll bring it back to you. If you so choose to do that today, then we'll try to bring it back to you at the earliest possible time. My goal would be this coming Friday, but that will involve everyone agreeing to the wording within the
Amy, have y'all totaled up? Are we
Yes, we
good?
just finished, thank you.
Okay, and I would think,
You are finished?
Yes, sir, sorry.
You have totaled them? Can you tell me what they are?
Do you want to turn one in, Judge?
Pardon me?
Would you like to turn one in, or do you just want to rely on the magistrates? Okay. We have totaled all the magistrates. I'll let the treasurer announce the numbers.
All right, total points is Spectrum, Charter, 367, NCTC, Warner Electric, 575.
based on those results, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion for us to move forward with Warren Rural Electric NCTC proposal to grant you authority and Amy to move forward and negotiate a contract to award this to NCTC Warren Rural Electric. It's my motion.
We have a motion by Squire Cummings and a second by Squire Gorman. No further questions or discussion?
I would just like to say thank you to Spectrum for their putting this out to us. Thank you.
Okay.
And we look forward to with Spectrum to working on the RDOF.
Okay.
So that's already in the works.
Absolutely. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
We'll see if we can get everything pinned down, and if so, I'll have it to you guys.
You need a roll call?
Yeah, we're going to do the roll call.
Just 1 second.
Esquire Young,
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is a special call meeting, so we are unable to talk about anything else other than this or go forward, but we will. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be at 9 a.m. on the 11th of June. That's this Friday. But at 11:45, we have a, what is it? It's a-
8:45, we have a public hearing.
Oh, 8:45, we have a public hearing for the purpose of, what is that? The what?
For the ball, isn't it for the ball?
The what?
I'm right there.
Okay, well, that makes all of us. But anyway, there is an 8:45 hearing
Motion to
before the
adjourn.
9 o'clock. We have a motion to adjourn by Squire Cummings, second by Squire Lawrence.
We need to turn these in.
Yes, if y'all don't mind turn both those presentations back in.